G'day, watch this.
For the CANdo program and the website, and I'd now like to introduce you to them. Many of you will know them. I certainly know a little of them, and have admired them from afar for a very long time. But I'm very pleased to say that they are with us today and able to explain exactly why we are here today and what we are going to do to turn back the tide that has threatened to engulf us all over the last probably 20 years or so. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd ask you to give a very warm welcome to Professor David Flint and Jai Martinovich. Something similar.
You'll get it. You might want this.
What's that?
The slide changing.
Okay. We want to take our country back. That's what Bernie Finn said. And he said it so well. In fact, I said to him after he delivered his speech, I suppose we can just go home now. Senator Heffernan, good to see you. Sir Theo Faulkner, Bernie Finn, of course. Bill Tilley, MP. Brian Sturton-Gill. Brian Mayfield, Mrs. Mayfield. Michael Kroger, good to see you. And Tim Wilson and Nick Hobson. Ladies and gentlemen, a single-purpose campaign which came out a few years ago because of the referendum was, of course, maintaining the constitutional monarchy. And ACM brought out 50,000 supporters across the country, and the referendum, against all predictions, was won by the rank and file. It was won not only nationally, it was won in every state, including Victoria, although the Encyclopedia Britannica said Victoria had gone the other way. And it was won in 72% of electorates. And as we reminded our friends at the Trades Hall in Sydney a few weeks ago when we were invited to a debate, it was won in 63% of Labor electorates, notwithstanding the fact that the Labor Party had instructed their voters to vote yes. As you know, some time ago, a site came into the country, which was Get Up, funded by foreign sources and then trade union sources, and it's had a major impact in the debate in this country. And with the advice of Corey Bernardi, who started this project, who then handed it over to us, this is essentially an attempt to develop a campaign hub which represents the traditional values of the rank and file Australians, and that's what we're involved with today. As you know, you couldn't fail to know, there have been significant changes in the media in the last few years, particularly in the media since the time of the referendum, when we've found it very hard to get our message through to the general public because of the filter the media maintained. And there's no doubt that the traditional journalist default position is, of the two sides, the default position tends to be towards the left. And it's so amusing, isn't it, to see the complaints about one person wishing to take a greater share in Fairfax, the great complaints, and the proposal that there should be a special law to stop that person because of the so-called independence of the Fairfax papers, whereas we all know the Fairfax papers are essentially presenting one view in the political firmament, as is our ABC. The fact is, of course, that the media oligopoly which we confronted in 1999 has to a great extent collapsed, although the Fairfax board didn't notice it for some time when they lost the classified advertising and didn't retain it on the net. But also the fact that people can be contacted and receive their news through different sources. We're here, and we were here in 1999 to campaign for our heritage, and this is an extension of that. We have tried to establish a presence on the internet, and we've developed a substantial ACM presence. Although it's a single-purpose organisation, it has a substantial presence, which Jai will speak to in greater detail in a few moments. But that no doubt encouraged Senator Bernardi to ask us to take over this operation. our role is to reach out, to engage and to activate. To reach out to those people who don't read newspapers, who don't belong to wonderful intellectual groups like the Samuel Griffith Society, but who are the nation's rank and file, who innately have traditional values, and who may well wonder why they're working until May or June before they actually take home their pay. But until that date, their money goes to the governments of Australia. And we want to try and explain to them why this government, which they understand now, I think the general view is that the people of this country, I think, have come to the conclusion that this is the most wasteful, the most incompetent, and the most deceitful government since the history of this nation began. We're arguing an additional point, which will come out a bit more when I read Alan Jones's address to you. That is, not only do we want to take back our country, but how can we make sure this never happens again? Because in the Commonwealth, we have this government, which is completely unacceptable, which should face the people tomorrow. We've had, in 1975, another government, which also, in fact, did face the people because of the fact that the circumstances were such that the Governor-General could be called upon to act. We've had in the states governments which should have gone to the people. The state I come from, New South Wales, we certainly had a government which should have gone back to the people. And we've had that in Queensland too, and perhaps in other states. There ought to be ways in which the people ought to be able to recall a government. And this is something which we will develop in this.
Very good.